Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom. Hi, family. Shalom. And welcome to the five
That
that
thrive.
thrive, right? The five pillars of marriage. As we believe these are the foundations of a fulfilled marriage.
Mm. Fulfilled?
Yeah, like
Mm. Like
fulfilled.
like
Yes,
like
that's right.
say I do and that's it?
Yeah,
There's
like,
nothing else to do?
well, you said I
Done.
do. That's just the cup. Now we have to put something in the cup, right?
Yes. Kinda like writing a love story.
It is like writing a love story where the two authors are the husband and the wife,
Mm.
and the people that we have in our life and are the proofreaders, right? They're looking and testing to see if your marriage is actually full of what you have. Your children know, everyone around you knows, right? They're the ones testing and reading the story on the
Mm.
outward, right?
Mhm.
So, real quick, how did we get these five categories? How did we get these five different categories?
Well, that's a good question. I've had the pleasure of reading books,
Being
attending
married to me?
the seminars, and, just
Mm.
different things that have helped me, well, be married to you.
Yikes. Ouch. Okay. Yeah. Am I that bad?
I'm just kidding. Actually, I've learned a lot just by practicing some of the habits that we have learned and applying them to our marriage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Helping others in their marriages, learning how we could keep ours afloat, right? Keeping
Mhm.
ours together.
Right.
Like you said, the different seminars and just honestly different things that we've invested in.
Mhm.
So we've condensed a lot of information within five specific categories or pillars of marriage, the things that we believe are the most important things in kind of the infrastructure of what it was created and established for, right?
Mhm.
These five pillars are intimacy, communication, echad or oneness, forgiveness, and finally, it is consistency, right? That's a
Right.
big one. Again, you'll see a lot of these are interchangeable, but there will be deeper, in depth conversations. So, this will be a couple weeks long. So, a couple expectations is yes, it's going to be a couple weeks long, and hopefully we'll be able to get these like short videos out a little sooner for you guys, as we know that this is a little short notice, and if you have time, great, or you watch this whenever. But we're trying to get these out by Sunday, Monday, the latest to you. Okay.
Yeah. So we plan on doing a couple small explanations and videos that we're going to
Yeah.
keep to about 40 minutes or so. You can watch the videos on your own time separately if you would like to, or you can watch them together. However, we do ask that you please read the guide together as a couple each
Yeah.
week.
Work through the guide together, right? That's what it's there for. It's something that's written out so that way you could read together.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be uncomfortable, right? We
Yep.
realize everyone is busy, right? But our
Mm-hmm.
marriage has to be at the forefront of our priority.
Right.
Otherwise, it's going to be the forefront of our priority when it's a problem, right?
Right.
So throughout the weeks, you will have some hard conversations, maybe some uncomfortable conversations. This is a big, big, big one, right? As the weeks progress, you will even see that we'll be trying like challenging to find date night time, expectations of date night time, how to do like date nights or like alone time with like a budget within an income. You don't need a whole lot of that. The creativity of just being together and figuring out time, marriage building time, individual growth. And the other thing is joining once we see how many people are able to kind of be a part of this, we're going to assign and give what we would call accountability couples. We're going to be doing this together, right? Proofreading the story being written, right? And if we see something that's in error or showing something that's not good, it's good to uplift one another, build each
Mm.
other, help each other. We're
Yeah.
all struggling in marriage. None of us have it perfect.
Nope.
There is no perfect marriage. There is perfect practices that you actually practice to do to have a perfect marriage. In fact, I think that's the best part of marriage is that it isn't perfect and you have to work through it.
Right, absolutely.
So, our first pillar that we'll be speaking on is intimacy.
Intimacy.
Yes, that's right. Going right all in on the awkwardness, going right for it, right? So
Right.
you have your guide and we'll be reading from that in the same order, okay?
Mhm.
Intimacy can be broken down into three specific categories,
Mm.
right? What are they?
Well, first one being spiritual, second emotional, and finally the well-known physical.
Ooh,
Mm. We start with spiritual. Why, do you
yeah.
ask? Because we believe that this is the key to all the others eventually working themselves out.
Absolutely. Yes. Being spiritually connected with your spouse, it unlocks doors, right? It
Mhm.
unlocks doors deeper to a deeper rooted it's like you're walking into a room that unlocks these doors of understanding of just it unlocks revelations of like even scripture and more than anything it allows the messiah to be more present within the marriage, right?
Right,
And we're
exactly.
actively moving toward what marriage was even created for,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll begin with our guide and reading that. So we're going to be starting in page 1, which should see spiritual intimacy and what spiritual intimacy is. So, spiritual intimacy is to connect as one before God, not just individually spiritual, but unified spiritually.
Mm.
So that's important, right?
Right.
That's the goal. Faith can be personal, but is it shared in a meaningful and consistent way as a couple? This is big. Can
Mhm.
you read the next part?
So a couple can both genuinely love God, pray on their own, read scripture, and even serve,
Woo.
but still be disconnected from their spouse.
So they're doing all the things.
Everything, all
Yeah.
the things,
They're checking all the boxes
all
off.
the
They look
boxes.
like a power couple,
Mhm.
but are they?
No, because actually they're not a unified team.
No.
And there's a difference between two believers in a relationship and a spiritually connected couple.
Yes. And how can we tell what that disconnect looks like, right? How can we tell what it looks like? Couples, they don't like to pray together. This is
Mm.
a big one.
Mhm.
Now, pray together how, right? They don't pray together for each other. This is the big one, right? So if a spouse is going through something, you're praying for that spouse together openly. And you could typically tell what that disconnect looks like because you feel awkward to pray for pray for or with your spouse. So you're
Right?
not even just praying for them and it feels awkward. Now it feels even more awkward when you're praying together, right? That's the big one. Now,
Right.
some people don't have a problem, and majority we don't see couples specifically not praying for their spouse because they typically do that alone and quietly. But another one could be even praying to the Father out loud, like praying to you out loud, asking for the Holy Spirit to maybe even give you understanding into the situation out
Mhm.
loud, being vulnerable in the prayer unlocks like just a total battle where you guys are fighting it together, right?
Right.
That's a big one. They rarely talk with each other. This is a big one. They rarely talk, spouses, couples rarely talk to each other about what God is teaching them. This is a big one, right? Because they're not doing these things. They're not doing these things.
Yeah, they don't wanna share with
They
each
don't want
other.
to share or they're afraid to share with each other. And
Mhm.
this is something that we have struggled with. This has
Right.
probably been the spiritual intimacy is probably the largest thing I'd say in our life that we always have to combat and say, "Hey,
Yeah,
what happened?" And why
absolutely.
do you think that is?
Well, sometimes you just want to, read with your husband and not someone who's a leader or a pastor, someone who's gonna teach you. Sometimes you just wanna read.
Exactly. So you
Mhm.
don't want someone that's always looking to teach you or lead you. It's just someone
Right.
to read
Just someone
alongside of you.
to read alongside.
Yes,
Mhm.
100%. And that's definitely something I struggle with, right? And, especially
Yeah.
if you say something you share with, and I'll add like 25 different things on top of it.
Yeah, and
It
then
starts to
sometimes it can be
micro.
overwhelming,
Yeah.
so
Minimize is kind of the word. Minimize whatever the point is. And that's like sometimes just letting it be is
mhm.
better. Like,
Or
wow,
sometimes
that's
it
awesome.
feels like it's better than anything that you've learned. You're like, "Wow, he's, like, not gonna wanna hear what I have to say about."
Exactly. Yeah.
He's way ahead of me,
Right.
so
And then the other thing is, big one is okay, now I have something to share with you. Are you giving me the time to do so?
yeah,
Right?
right.
Am I trying to share this with you while you're doing dishes, yelling at children or
Oh,
whatever it
yeah,
is? Are we having
yeah,
the time where we're setting apart and making the time to do that, right?
fair.
We're still
Yeah,
working on it, family, right? We're still working on it. Big
exactly.
thing, right? This is a big thing in connecting. And why? Because decisions, they aren't made through a shared spiritual lens. This is a big one.
Mm,
You're making decisions based off of emotions. A lot of other things play a factor into it. And you're not making a decision together, right?
yeah,
Yes, you're maybe battling the problem together sometimes, but you never made the decision, both of you, right? It's one
right.
thing to make a decision that's a wrong decision that you both agreed on. It's another one when a spouse makes a decision and unfortunately it's not even through a spiritual lens, it could even be physical, right?
Mhm,
Um like an emotional, physical, emotional. A lot of decisions can be tied to error, especially when there's not a what I would call safety. And your spouse is supposed to be well, if you're a husband, right? You're supposed to have your wife as the helpmate, and
mhm,
the wife is supposed to have the husband, same thing as the spiritual, like leader, also leading and
right.
helping, right?
Being the one who's leading, mhm.
Exactly. So one may be growing while the other feels stagnant.
Mm,
Boy, do we know this too well, right?
yeah,
Or like you grow in totally separate directions.
right, and
I've
we've gone through that.
We have gone through that,
Yeah,
right?
and sometimes it'll be, where I'm not really feeling my faith has grown stagnant, and then
I'm on cloud nine,
you're on cloud 9, yeah,
so excited and
and then
happy.
yours is stagnant at some point, and then I'm, like, ready to go,
Yeah.
and,
And I'm not, and I don't want to. So it's this constant battle of trying to
right.
build together, not just I'm building, you're building, and
Mhm,
I'm not, right? It's a big thing. And where this kind of really comes together is not setting that time apart to build that, right? And what happens is a faith is lived in parallel. So yes, we're growing, maybe we're going upward, but what's happening is there's a space in between. And this part I really like because it's not faith is a marriage faith is supposed to be intertwined where we're actually designed to be we're
mm,
designed to make each other more holy, like a DNA. Like God
right,
is creating in marriage a DNA of marriage where we are becoming one. So
mm,
yes, our faith may be growing, but we're not maximizing what God has created in the marriage infrastructure because we're not intertwining together. We're actually growing
mhm.
separately, and who knows how big the space is in between,
Right,
right?
right. So instead of we are seeking God together, it becomes I have my walk with God and you have yours.
Yes,
So,
true. Yeah,
and
it's sad.
why? Why does this matter? Well, marriage isn't just an emotional or physical thing, it's meant to unify the two people spiritually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And without the shared spiritual connections, we've seen it firsthand.
Oh, yeah.
We've gone through it.
Mhm.
And this is one of those things. Couples often drift emotionally over time. Why? Because they're not battling spiritual things together. What are they doing? I don't know what you just did, but they're they're not they're not growing together, they're not building together, they're not starting. There's no unity within the emotional and the spiritual, because they're very, very connected, right? And the
Mhm.
physical, right? It really starts. We believe that spiritually being connected is what's going to unlock more emotional connection and physical connection,
Yes,
as you'll see. There's a
absolutely.
reason why we started with spiritual intimacy.
Mhm.
We believe that you tend to struggle more in conflict. Why? because you're not actually communicating like the things that God is sharing with you. So there's expectations or hidden agendas.
Right, you stop wanting to share
You
with each
stop
other.
completely wanting to share. And it
Mhm.
could also be now accountability is gone, right? Because now if you're growing, you're not sharing. Sometimes even that sharing something will help spark that ignition your spouse needs because they don't want to be left behind, right?
Right.
If you're too far ahead and you're moving, they don't want to put the work in to get back ahead, right?
Mhm.
So you tend to miss deeper intimacy that comes from seeking God together. This is very, very, very important. Why? Because when a couple comes together and God can show them both a revelation, oh, it's so much more powerful and it connects you. There's just something that you two have, not everyone has.
Hmm.
Especially in the beginning of our walk, I feel like we've had these moments that no one can take away from us because it was just you and me there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, what are some healthy habits? Healthy habits. This is big one, guys. These are just things that you can start doing right now. They're simple, they're small, they're digestible. You could take little bites and you could do these things. There are
Mhm.
bigger things and we'll lead to them on a deeper study and a longer study. But right now, there are praying together 1 to 3 times a week. This is a big one.
Right,
Where you take set apart time. Yes, it could be at nighttime. It could be short. It doesn't have to be super elaborate. It doesn't have to be very long.
right.
It could be just you're praying for each other and your marriage first before anything else, right?
Mhm.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Being aligned in beliefs, direction, and convictions. Yikes. So being aligned doesn't always mean you're going to go through the same things. It means you're able to work together through even the discord or the differences that you may be able to read. You read your Bible a lot different than I read my Bible. That
Absolutely.
doesn't mean that we can't still work through the differences that we see together. In
Mhm.
fact, when we may see something different, it's an encouraging moment that God has put there, that roadblock where you have to overcome. Now there's a challenge, kind of like an escape room. An escape room is very difficult to do without a team. It's meant to be a team through the
Mm.
problem, right?
Yeah.
So being aligned in beliefs, sorry, and being aligned in beliefs, directions, and convictions, inviting God into decisions, conflict, and daily life. This is a big one, right? Inviting God into decisions. What if before you made any kind of decisions in life, whatever it may be, before an oath, before a promise, before anything you do, you both went to God submissively, right? This is a big one. Things to avoid.
Mm.
Boy, do we know this one. One leading spiritually while the other is passive.
Yeah.
Jasmine just overruns me all the time. It's just I can't get her to just stop it. Just stop it, Jazz, okay? Stop.
Guilty.
Um, I'm just joking. Spiritually shaming one another is a big one. It's like this is a difficult one. It's like, well, you're not reading, or accusations are thrown around, right? There's no growth spiritually because there's no fruit
Mm.
there. That's a huge attachment.
Yeah, and also it also creates a space or environment where one person may not wanna share with the other anymore. It discourages them.
100%.
Mhm.
Because faith is private now and it's not shared, right?
Right.
So when God does something within your life, it's like if it's not something miraculous, it could be something like a revelation or something that you saw,
Mhm.
something even micro or small that you should be able to share with your spouse. It's not there because there hasn't been this field that's been cultivated, that's been allowed, that's basically it's not there, right? There's
Mhm.
no path there. There's no channel there. There's
Yeah.
no comfort there, right?
Right.
Basically, what we're doing is we're just going through life with those things.
Mhm.
And then the only connection with God is during a crisis. Now, all of a sudden, there's a problem or something happens in
Mhm.
your life. And then that's when you both go there, which
Yeah.
is, again, you see benefits of that. We have seen the benefits of that. Even in our own lives, when something bad has happened, we've come together. The problem is knowing that when we actually work towards something, we're working toward the problem that's coming,
Mm,
right?
yep.
Guys, we're all gonna go through problems. Life is gonna it's messy. It's gonna throw problems at us.
Yeah.
You're working through them before you go through them. You're working toward the problem. When you hit the problem, it's not so like crisis. It's not such a detrimental thing. It's just something you're working toward. You know what to do. I know what to do. Boom, let's attack
Mm,
this. We know this. It's like wartime. When the sound comes of wartime, you know where your position is. I know where my position is. We go there. But if wartime happens and the sound goes off and we're both like, what's that? I don't
right.
know what that is. Enemy, enemy, enemy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, now what?
Mhm.
And then before you know it, we have we've been infiltrated and the enemy has come into our home, taken the castle, and we are now servants to our own demise, right?
Exactly. And you certainly don't want to go to God every time you have an issue. You want to work through it and you want to have God at the center of it.
Absolutely.
So we have some activities that you can do as a couple. Um, this will get you into the practice of praying together. You can pray together alone out loud. Okay. So if the kitties are around or whatever it is, just try to make some intentional time together. And it could be short. Do this 1 to 3 times a week. You can read the scriptures that are provided about marriage together.
That's an important one
Mm-hmm.
because that starts to unlock it, right? Develop the habits.
Right. And you can set apart 10 to 15 minutes to discuss the questions below as a couple. So the scriptures that we have here provided is Ecclesiastes 4:12, Amos 3 verse 3, and Proverbs 18:21 to 22. And we also have some questions, and they're kind of fun, and they're a little, they might be a little awkward, but
And challenging, right?
yeah,
Like, because we're not just trying to get through these questions, guys. We're not just, giving one word answers. We have a rule in
no,
our house. If we feel you're not being real,
yep,
we're not moving off of it.
no,
And if you
really,
can't be real, then we
mhm,
pause there for a moment,
yep.
right?
You got to take the time and actually think about the answers to these questions and discuss them, and go deep, go
That's
deep.
it. Yeah.
So the first question is, what do we do together that invites God into our relationship? Number two, where are we currently in agreement about spiritually? Where are we not? Number three, what would it look like for us to intentionally walk together with God this week? Number four, do you truly see your spouse as a gift from God? Mm. Or have you become casual with them? Number five, what words do I need to repent for and what words do I need to start speaking? Number six, are we guarding our marriage like something sacred or assuming it will survive?
Hmm.
Number seven, if God evaluated our marriage today, what would he say is healthy and what needs to change immediately?
Yeah, these are hard questions.
Those are tough.
Yeah, they aren't. They are not easy questions, guys, and they're not meant to be easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're meant to get to the root problem. We're gardening here.
Exactly. So, our next topic is going to be emotional intimacy, and it's going
Yes.
to be to feel known.
This is the goal, right? This is the
Yeah.
goal of emotional
Right.
intimacy.
To feel known and safe and also understood.
Yeah.
So, emotional intimacy is when your spouse can understand what's going on inside of you, not just what you're doing on the outside. Emotional intimacy is not just having a conversation, it's actually how deeply you're willing to be known.
Yeah.
Communication is the skill of how you express the words. However, to maximize intimacy from an emotional standpoint, you have to let your guard down and be completely vulnerable.
Oof.
The truth is, you can live in the same house and still be emotionally alone.
And we have heard this time and time again.
Mhm.
I feel like I literally made this a statement based off of things that I've heard, that you've heard, that we've heard
Yeah.
time and time again, right?
Very common.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's sad because there's no protection, right? And while yes, it starts with spiritual intimacy, the second thing is this, there's three layers of emotional intimacy. You have to be vulnerable, right? So you have to create vulnerability. You have to create trust and empathy. And these three things specifically are the biggest things to being able to connect emotionally. Not sympathy, empathy, right? Trust, vulnerability, being able to feel uncomfortable, right?
Mhm.
Really, really big one is you have to show your weakness to your spouse in some access, right?
Yeah.
To really allow your spouse to just see, yes, you're not perfect. Because the truth is your spouse probably already knows your imperfections,
Mhm.
right? And how do you create real, meaningful conversations? This is like these are these are the probably these are the water to growing seeds, like, in making, like, actual vegetables and fruit, right?
Mhm.
This is life right here, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
how to take, first take the leap and speak openly. Do daily heart checks. "Hey, how you been feeling? What you thinking right now? Like, what's going on right now?
Mm,
What's really going on right now?" Right?
right,
And doing daily heart checks is that's a really good one.
right.
Daily could be once a day, in the morning, in the afternoon, whatever, sometimes in a lunch break, right? Or whatever, you're shooting a message, just texting, what's going on with you right now? How you doing? Intentional listening. Oh, this is a hard one for me, right? Not trying to fix, but to understand. But I thought she was telling me a problem. I gotta fix it. I love her. I'm a man. I'm a manly
Right.
man.
Yeah.
I need to fix this.
Yeah, and I think that men typically want to fix things, and
Right.
there's women also that
Oh,
like to
yes.
fix things,
Yes, yes.
and sometimes that's not what's needed.
Yeah, difficult to put yourself in the shoes of the person going through it, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just a conversation that's needed. Sometimes it's the hand that's held, right?
Mhm.
Okay, that's a big one. Share before you are asked to, right? So build habits of speaking more openly and remove the responsibility of making your spouse guess, right? So share before you're asked to. So talk, speak. Hey, I really need you to do this. I'm not a mind reader. I can't read your mind,
I've
right?
never thought that about you,
Never.
just once or twice.
Yeah, just do it. Why didn't you just well, I didn't know. Could you tell me? Could you have just told me? Could you talk with me? Just be upfront with me. Maybe I have something else going on. I didn't know, right? Speak openly. Stop Stop waiting for your spouse to ask you. Share openly. Come
Mhm.
in and share. And then if the opposite, this is a big one. If you're someone that doesn't share, then why not? Because what you're doing is you're closing the door on the person that does want to share, on the spouse that wants to share, won't share because they don't feel emotionally safe to,
That is so true.
right?
Yeah.
Because they're afraid to, because the person that is doesn't, the spouse that doesn't want to share is, again, it's not creating a safe room or a safe place,
Right.
right?
You wanna feel safe when you're gonna share something.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yes. So share before you're asked to. You don't have to tell me about, don't wait for someone to ask you about your day, or are you in a bad mood, or how you feeling. Just share, right?
Mhm.
Name, and this is the big thing, when you are speaking, name emotions clearly. Clarity creates deeper understanding, right? Example could be, I'm stressed. I've said this to you. Man, I'm
Yeah.
stressed. I'm stressed. Well, like, okay, like, now when you say something like I'm stressed, you can't connect with empathy there. You can only connect with fixing. Like, okay, I want to fix. I'm stressed. Why? Ah, man, I could say something like, I've been anxious about this, because of that, and truthfully, maybe I did this. It unlocks the ability to be able to have a deeper conversation and it allows your spouse to get a deeper understanding into what's happening. Maybe there isn't a fix that's there, but the access is it allows for expectations to be tighter and closer, right? I'm really anxious, I'm really stressed, I'm really kind of going through this. I really need you to do this for me. Oh,
Mm.
well, I had totally different plans. I didn't know. I'm glad we had
Right,
this
right.
conversation
It's
because
true.
wow, right?
Mhm.
Here's a big one. Create a distraction free space weekly.
Mm.
So, okay, we did not give you times, like, but really because it should start with once a week, and it really should be more. I believe honestly it should be daily. But Jasmine and I, she did make a good point, and I do agree. Daily sets an unrealistic expectation for growth,
Yes.
but weekly is absolutely vital. You should have connection time. No phones, no TV, no multitasking, no children coming in and breaking the barrier of we'll call this connection time. Now, I'm not talking awkward time where you have children and it's like you lock yourself into a bedroom.
Right.
And then it's like now your children are there and
No.
everyone's like weird. We're talking about alone connection time. What could that look like? We're sitting at the dining room table, the kitchen table, we're sitting outside.
Mhm.
We're alone. And
Right.
and typically what happens is as soon as you see like the couple, the parents are alone, a child will come up and say, "Mommy, mommy, mommy."
Right.
Sometimes
And
daddy, but
setting
mommy,
boundaries,
mommy.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries. And the big thing is your spouses are not going to you're not creating that again, that doorway of a safe place if everything else is priority over your spouse. Your spouse is the most important factor in your life once you are married outside of children.
Mhm.
Obviously, God comes first and then family, your spouse, God, spouse, family, right?
Right.
And that's a very important thing. Your children cannot come above God, and it can also not come above marriage. And the two are the same. Your children cannot come above them.
Mm.
And so that's a huge thing. If you have little children, boy, do we know the struggle. But the thing is there's got to be reprimands if they break that. This is connection time. Doesn't have to be long. It could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes,
Right.
right? It does not have to be long, but
No.
it's connection time. It's sacred.
Yep.
It's holy. It's like that's the thing that we're growing here. Nothing can come in the way of that. And,
Mm.
obviously emergencies, right? So, one of the things that we would do is when our children would have to break it, it would be like, this is an emergency. Like, you got to be willing to lose an item. You got to be willing to get punished. You got to be willing to go through severe punishment for breaking this if there is an emergency.
Mm.
And obviously, as our children were younger, they were coming because of silly things and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But we've had to reprimand them.
Yeah.
We've had to set that boundary. Otherwise, just like Sabbath or anything else in your life, there's going to be plenty of things that are trying to attack that time.
Mhm.
But that's time for you and your spouse, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And why this matters is because we believe that practicing these habits is like building a house one brick at a time. One deep conversation doesn't build a strong marriage. Being consistent, one conversation over time will build a house that is not easily broken.
This is important. So then affirm and speak life regularly. People open up more when they feel valued. Respond to discord with safety, not always punishment. So man, this is a big one, right? So now we're fighting, we're battling, or there's an issue or a problem. Don't always respond with, even if your spouse does something wrong, stop responding with punishment,
Mm.
right? Like, don't just respond with, you did this to me. Speak life. Hey, I didn't really like how you've been doing this because you've been doing like amazing, you know, you've been really, really doing so good here. Please let's not go back to that. I've been, and you can speak more on that. It's been unlocking more things I didn't know that I want to work on. You speak life, and while speaking life, what happens is you can't revert back.
Right, and you
And
don't wanna beat them
and
down.
you don't wanna
Yeah.
beat them down,
Mhm.
right? We're progressing, we're moving, we're
Right.
walking, we're building. And
Mhm.
like Jazz said, it matters because we're building a house. So if you are building a house, you can break it down with your words. You could break it down with your words simply by okay, we just got the first wall up, wall up, wall up, wall up. And
Yeah.
it's like a mistake happens. Oh, you know what? I put this brick on the wrong way. Oh, dang, I messed it up. Kick the wall down. And you're like, whoa. Wait a minute. We just had to fix this one brick.
Mhm, I
Why are we
know.
replacing this whole side of this
Yep.
this wall now, right? And that's
Constantly
a
fixing
big thing
and
because
building.
now you're not progressing through building the house. The issue is what are we doing now? Now we're just keep building the same corner, the same corner, the same corner, the same
Mm.
corner, and
Yeah.
life starts to become repetitive. And what are we doing? We're not ever growing. We're not building a safety net, right?
Exactly.
And here are the 5 benefits. Loneliness, you're right. We're building this we start with a room. Loneliness that couples have, right? And this is a big one. They often will dissipate, right? They'll go away. They will be removed. The loneliness that's there. I don't have friends. I'm all alone.
Yeah.
That will be gone. That will be removed more and more and more.
Right.
Obviously, having your spouse there is your best friend and your closest thing. But the big thing is you're not going to feel lonely because you're always going to know there is someone there with you battling for you,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah, so it doesn't matter who you have in your corner or not, you know that you always have your spouse there.
Always,
Yep.
right. And conflict now becomes healthier. Why does conflict become healthier? Because we're working toward a goal. We're not battling each other, we're battling the problem. No, 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 no. I'm carrying you, you're carrying me.
Right.
We're hitting this problem together.
Right.
You're not the problem, that's the problem. Here
Mm.
we go. We're working toward it,
We're on the
right?
same team.
We're on the
Yep.
same team. Emotional security increases. Okay, that vulnerability, that problem that we have is not a you problem, it's an us problem. So now you're able to communicate through it because we're able to work toward that direction. Now
Exactly.
that's a big one because emotional security can't happen without forgiveness and all that stuff, which is its own separate category. However, there has to be a place where we're cultivating that allows for that opportunity, right?
Mhm.
Spiritual intimacy becomes easier. So now emotional connection is there where we're talking, where spiritual intimacy is in lack. And this is how I know there are some things that this is how I know spiritual intimacy is a problem with us because what happens is you'll say, "Hey, I don't I feel like you're so far ahead or whatever. You're not here. Like, I
Right.
just want to be with you." And it's like, oh, we can have that conversation and I could feel that conversation because you're not just breaking my heart or doing something. You're not trying to break me down. You're saying to me, hey, there's a lack, there's a hole in the fence over
Right.
here.
Sometimes you don't even notice it,
No,
right? We
right.
don't we don't. We
uh,
don't notice it sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're just in the life, right? The struggle of life.
Going
The
through the motions.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, physical intimacy now, because your emotional intimacy increases, your spiritual intimacy, your physical intimacy has to. It will improve naturally.
100%.
You'll feel connected. You'll want to do things together where you'll feel together. You'll feel closer, tighter, and more connected.
Mm.
Now, here's the things to avoid consistently having surface level conversations. How was your day? It was good. Yeah. How was your day? It was good. It was all right. Yeah, it was good. And why is this a problem? Because you not going to that deeper level doesn't unlock deeper level conversations. And I'm sorry to say this, but it's always tied to parenting, especially when you get to teenagers. How was your day? It was good.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything good happen? Not really.
Mhm.
Okay. Hey, how are you feeling right now? All right. Okay. Okay.
Mm.
How are you feeling right now? Oh, I was gonna share, but now I'm not gonna share because you didn't really share. I don't want to unload all this on you.
That's
I'm
so
I'm
true.
doing all right. I guess
Ye
I'm doing okay. You know? And that's unfortunately, you're having these surface level conversations. Shutting down while having the conversation.
Oh,
Big
yeah,
one,
big
right?
time.
And now we're not talking about yelling or arguing because there should be a pause. The pause should be like, "Hey, listen, I can see this conversation is going well. It's not going it's we're not fighting the problem anymore. We're starting to get a little hurtful. We're gonna pause for a second. We're gonna come back to it.
Yeah, take a deep breath, take
It's
a
an
break.
oath.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back to it."
Mhm.
Typically, what I like to do, I don't do this anymore because now I just want to fix the problem. I just want to move past it, and so I could change it or I could develop the habit, whatever it is. Like, come on, like, just let's go and let's work through it. But the big thing is write it down then, right? Take all your emotions, write it down, work through it. Some people write it down, some people
Yep,
have to speak it out and talk it out. Whatever it is for you, yelling should not be the adequate way to express the emotion, especially when the person that shuts down and that's easily shutting them down is by yelling. Yelling is like slamming the door in that person's face,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Having the conversation is more important. And yes, it could be passionate sometimes and sometimes it could be like, "Look, I'm getting louder, but it's not because of you. It's just this is a trigger for me." And then that's a good way too to express now what's getting you to that place and why, right?
right? The delivery is so important.
So important. It's true. Yeah. Listening to respond, not to understand. How do I or I love this part right here, right? Listening to understand is so important not to respond. Why? Because sometimes people just need to talk. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a roller coaster ride. Like, you're on that roller coaster ride together where, your spouse just needs you to hold their hand and it's like, woo, woo, whoa, woo. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Woo. And then
Mm,
that roller coaster ride of just emotions unlocks the feeling that they have. They don't need you to respond. They're just you're there with them, right?
yeah.
Sometimes even at repeating back, they did what? They did that like that? Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. And now having that conversation. So listening and understanding, right? That's a big one. This is a big one in fights, though, battles. That's the one where we're on a roller coaster and we're going down the hill. Right now, we're going down. Whoa, we're going down. This does not feel very good. Oh, I hope this stops soon. We're going down, right? Especially like some really big roller coasters are pretty scary on the drops, and the drops
Mhm.
are really, really
Oh, yeah.
scary, right? And I think sometimes that's the battles or the fights where you just think you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. But it's the safety harnesses that you put on your communication that should keep you when you hit those downs, that keeps you in the seat, working back up when you start hitting your rises, your ups. And essentially, when you start doing and moving faster, that those safety conversations, those safety belts, those things you're able to talk and be a part of with your spouse.
Mhm.
Here's another one, things to avoid, not giving your spouse the attention needed to speak. This is big one,
Mhm.
right? And we've went over this. Just having that time, busy, 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 busy,
Yeah.
busy, busy is not the excuse because you're going to be so busy till your spouse is either out the door or you're dead. And then that's the problem. Unfortunately, we've
Mhm.
seen this too many times
Yeah.
where no children and all of a sudden two spouses are looking at each other.
They're complete strangers.
Complete
Scary.
strangers, right? Something happens, a traumatic event happens within their life. They both divide. Boop,
Yeah.
they don't unify.
Yeah.
We've seen that too. What happens is then like little things start to get in and the wedge gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And then
Mhm.
unfortunately there's no again sacredness to this having that communication time or conversation.
Mm. That is so true. So we have some other scriptures, more scriptures for you guys to read.
Mm.
We have Proverbs
Delight.
20, verse 5.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah. First Peter 2, verse 1. And Philippians 2:14 to 15. We have an activity that you can do together as a couple.
Yeah.
You can sit side by side, have a conversation with no distraction.
Oof, and we set 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Yes, you
Okay.
could do this. Come
Mm,
on,
Not
fight.
not a long time.
No.
Don't overthink it.
Right. What do we talk about? What do you think you should talk about? It's not on here. Don't talk about work. Don't talk about children. Just talk about each other. Try that. And look, if you go back to work and those things, fine. Talk about retirement. What's your dreams? What's
Goals.
goals? All right, like all those things. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Bucket list.
Yeah, bucket lists are fine. Sure. I mean, whatever it is.
Hmm. Next one is check in at random times and give 5-minute answers. For example, what's on your heart today?
Yeah.
And the next one is during your conversation, give one high and one low about your week.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what's the 5-minute answers for? It stops allowing for like the one word answers. Be
Mhm.
intentional about what you're speaking. Speak openly, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Mm.
That's a big one.
We have some more questions,
These are
and
individual, right? These are
these
specifically individual.
these are
These are not done as a
individual
couple, right?
questions. Yes.
Yes.
So this one is a little different. These are different than the last ones.
Actually, we're looking for you to have that conversation for the 15 minutes that we were talking about, no work and stuff. Answer these questions with your spouse, right? I forgot
Mm.
about that. So
Okay.
you're answering these questions, you're having that 15-minute conversation, and it's going to go side by side, right? So it's
Mhm.
like, one, do you think you are vulnerable with your spouse? You answer. And now, here's my answer, boom, boom, boom. And then
And
you
then
answer,
discuss
right?
those
Yeah, discuss those.
those
We're not looking
answers.
for this to be a battle. This is supposed to be open intimacy time,
Right.
words of affirmation, right?
Right. So the first question is, do you think you are vulnerable with your spouse? Question 2, outside of kids, work, bills, schedules, do you talk beyond logistics? Number 3, when was the last deep conversation we had? Number 4, in an argument, I can do this better to understand thoroughly and not try to win. Number 5, finish a sentence with 3 to 4 sentences. Lately, I've been feeling
Da,
blah,
da,
blah, blah.
da. That's right.
All right. So,
That's right. Good questions, hard questions. Again, don't be quick, right?
yeah, take your time.
Our next one, part 3, physical intimacy. I wanna get physical,
Physical,
physical. I wanna get physical.
physical.
Okay, I'm sorry, but we had to, right? So, yeah, physical intimacy, part 3,
All right. So, first of all, you want to cultivate a relationship through affection, touch,
goals, right? This is the
presence,
goal of physical intimacy, right?
presence and desire.
Yeah.
Very important. Um, Physical intimacy is more than just sex. Yes, it is important. Unfortunately, many relationships fail because
Yeah.
this becomes the only physical connection of value.
Yeah.
Physical intimacy begins way before the bedroom. It's the non sexual behaviors that foster a sense of safety, belonging, and stronger connections.
And here's the warning signs, family. Here's the warning signs that you have fallen to not having physical intimacy, right? You feel distant from your spouse.
Mm,
You may have um, bedroom like time, but you don't actually feel connected, right? Physical. Pressured into intimacy, right? There's this like, it feels just transactional. It's like, get this out of the way so we can move on with our day, right?
yes.
Lack of effort to initiate affection or closeness. You don't actually pursue your spouse or looking to have that conversation. There's no casual affection. It always leads to sex or something outside of that. You can't just hold hands or kiss, you can't just hug. There's always something that's like needed afterwards, right?
Mm,
Massages, things like that. Tension around physical contact. Now, here's the big one. It's like every time you touch your spouse or whatever, it's always like, oh, stop touching me. Like,
yeah.
I don't, I just don't want to be
Disgust.
touched, like disgust, or it's
Mhm.
like leave me alone or
Yeah.
whatever, right? And the lack of physical proximity. This is big one. Like sleeping separately is a big, big, big one in
Mm,
this that we've seen many, many times. It's not very good statistically. It's not. But the other thing is, it's like also being separate from one another, and it typically has that same, unfortunately, that same habits, right? These are
mhm.
just habits that you can look and see, right?
Right.
And then our next up and is this. You got that one?
Bad physical intimacy isn't just less touch, it's when touch no longer creates connection.
Big thing, right? You don't get
Yep.
the butterflies. You're not getting that connection. You're not
No,
feeling that
you're
connection,
not
right?
feeling it.
Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
big one, right? So peeling the layers of the physical intimacy onion. This is a big one, right? Um, an onion peeler. Non-sexual affection.
Mm.
Okay, so this includes daily gestures such as holding hands, hugging, cuddling, gentle touch on the arms, kissing each other as a greeting or saying goodbye. These
Mhm.
actions actually they release oxytocin, that is known as the bonding hormone, right? Which helps reduce stress and build trust. Of course, saying I love you, a quick peck by that's not touching, having that emotional connection, holding hands when you're in the car, walking around, you know, feeling your partner's connection, physically feeling their arms or touching around them increases, right? This is the layer. It's non-sexual affection. And by doing that, you're unlocking feeling inside. Not even, and some people are not touchers, like they're not people that like to be touched. However, again, statistically shown, right? This is statistically shown that when they overcome even the desire not to,
Mm.
they become closer with that particular person, right? It
Right.
has to. It unlocks it. Now there is a place where it's like too much, like, come on, I need to breathe.
Yeah.
However, if
Yeah.
you don't do it, then that's the problem. And that's typically what happens, right?
Mm.
Sensual intimacy, right? This is touch that is meant to be pleasurable and relaxing without necessarily leading to sex. This is a big one. Giving massages, brushing your spouse's hair, dancing in the kitchen,
Yeah.
holding each other for more than 10 seconds. You know, the awkward hugs, but sometimes they're good where you're falling into each other's arms. Big
Yes.
one. Eye contact.
Mhm.
Looking at each other in the eyes when talking is actually a way where you can make physical contact without ever actually touching. You're just making physical contact, right? Because you can see love in that person's eyes or connection, right?
Yes.
Big one. When
Mhm.
talking, holding eye contact. Are these are just some of the major components. Again, what we tried to do is we tried to choose the things that we believe were the most important things. And honestly, we chose these based off of books that we've read, statistics, like stats are all over,
Yeah.
and things that we've seen. We have
Yep.
literally lived in our own marriages,
Own
that
family.
marriage, our
Yeah.
own families'
Yeah.
marriages, our
Yep.
own lives, and helping other marriages.
Yep.
This is where it comes from. Um, and what it should do is again, we're connecting now on a deeper level. We're surpassing what is standard, average, whatever practice what the normal would be. And practicing these things, here we go again. You're going to see physical is such an important thing to health. However,
Mm.
physical doesn't happen without the spiritual and the emotional, not at this capacity. Practicing these releases dopamine and serotonin, and it is a natural medicine for anxiety and mild depression.
Mhm.
So this is big, guys. This is a big one again. Big one is I'm now releasing. I'm less stress. Why? Because I have my spouse. She's here, or my husband, right? For
Right.
those married women. So same thing. There's security, there's comfort.
Yes.
Next up is sexual intimacy. Now, obviously, this is supposed to be a shared experience. It's a shared experience of sexual activity. It's not one or the other.
Right.
It's not just one person has to just, specifically male has to do his thing so that way we can move on with this day. It's supposed to be something that you both come together. In a healthy marriage, sex serves as a way to express deep vulnerability and passion. It's not just driven by lust. It's reinforcing the exclusive bond between spouses, right?
Right.
You're not just doing the thing just to do the thing. You're doing the thing because you're in love
Mm,
and you get to, right? It's
right.
not because you have to. And healthy habits are to speak about each other's needs to build expectations. How many times should a couple have intimacy, physical sex intimacy, sexual intimacy?
Mm,
That depends on the couple. Each couple is different. However, each spouse may also be different. Very important to work that out together, right? And studies show that when couples are regularly intimate, this is another fun one, it increases their immune systems. Okay, so what does that mean? When you are physically intimate and you are able to do that, your body's defense increases to fight things that are bad.
mm.
Why? Because you want to be with your I think it's because you want to be with your spouse, right? And it keeps that connection closer.
So interesting.
Here's a big one, physical proximity. And listen, this I know this is a hard one, but this is a big, big, big one. Simply being near one another, right? It's like, yeah, come here. Sitting just joking. Things like sitting close while reading or sleeping even in the same bed, a big one. It contributes to feeling a security and the home. Like I'm at home because of you, not the location of the place or the bed, but you are home, right? And this allows presence alone creates comfort. What happens is being with your spouse, it will create comfort,
Mm,
right? Not discomfort or ugh or whatever, right?
mhm.
We are together in this. See, being near one another creates more opportunities for the mind to think this.
Mm,
This is big, guys. This is big. We are together in this. Sleeping in the same bed increases deeper bonding substantially. It's
yes.
substantially.
Mhm.
Statistically, it's substantially. And while yes, I get the difficult, like, maybe sleep nights or whatever, because that's typically the thing, and while the benefits of that is you get better sleep, and better sleep may improve mood or whatever it
Mm,
is, but the relationship takes a toll. Why? Because sleeping in the same bed increases deeper bonds substantially, late night convos, micro connections happen. Decompressing together, right? You're
mm,
working together, you're decompressing together. It also allows for more like even a sexual intimacy to be just something like organic that maybe just comes or and
spontaneous.
spontaneous. Thank you. I couldn't think of
Yeah.
the word spontaneous. Sometimes it's not even just spontaneous. Sometimes it could be whatever it is. Well, yes, again, you do get better sleep. The result of a relationship always suffers. It always suffers.
Mm,
And this is a big thing. This is why fights the husband gets up and leaves or the wife that's such a silly thing because it destroys the couple when they do that. It actually develops the opposite of what you think. You think driving each other away would because I'm so angry with him or her, right? I'm so
mhm,
angry with that spouse, it drives them
mhm.
away. So then they don't, it doesn't build a better connection when you wake up in the morning and say, okay, I'm going to fix this. No, the opposite is now there. Now you feel less comfort. You feel like less secure, less everything through this, right?
Yeah.
You don't feel like your spouse ends up really having your back,
Mm,
and what ends up happening is your spouse has the couch or whatever is next to it.
mhm. Exactly. That's not good. So some key takeaways that we have here are in a busy marriage, physical intimacy can sometimes take a backseat to work, parenting, or simply just the household itself. I am
Mhm.
guilty of that.
Yeah, me too.
Physical touch has lasting health benefits from regulating emotions, lowering blood pressure,
So insane. It really is.
to I am here for you without a spoken word or a word spoken. Physical touch provides the foundation of being on the same team
Mhm.
and can help navigate disagreements.
Yes.
So, some scriptures um, that you can read together. First Corinthians chapter 7, 3 to verse 5. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4. And Proverbs chapter 17, verse 22.
Absolutely. And yes, guys, these questions are really going to make you feel awkward. They are. Start by sitting, holding hands. Hold hands. Hold hands. Hold hands, right? Read the thing together.
Mm,
Take turns, each asking a question. And once an answer has been given, right? This is big thing. Once an answer is given, don't turn this into an argument. All right. Why? Because we typically see physical intimacy, whatever it is, we typically see this one becoming more emotional. Is another big one, but physical intimacy is a big one too.
yeah.
And then what's not on here is how we're gonna get to that. Okay, how physical intimacy can also improve based off of better health habits and things like that.
Mm,
However, these specific things are to really take a good look in the mirror, right? Take turns asking each other questions once an answer has been given. And once an answer has been given, don't turn this into an argument. Hear your spouse and work together. Speak more once the three questions have been completed. So, what you're going to do is you're going to answer one question, then the next question, then the next question.
mm,
Okay. So, um, repeat throughout the week or until all the questions are answered. Obviously, we're meeting tomorrow or Thursday, right? But you have a full week up until that time to do that. Good habits are to write down your spouse's answer before moving to the next question. So when you're asking the questions and you're holding hands, right? Do one question per category, right? We have awareness questions. Do one question. You could pick whatever one that you want to answer or ask. You're asking your spouse. So, Jasmine, do you feel physically close to me on a regular basis? You answer the question,
mm-hmm.
right? Now I ask you another question. I'm writing down your answer. Growth question. I pick whatever one is. Is there something you wish we did more often, affection wise? Is there something that you wish? Your answer would be like, I wish you gave me more massages. And I would say, okay, more massages, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then honesty questions. Is busyness affecting our physical closeness? And then like that would be my question to you. You'd respond. And now you do the same thing. Now you go through the three and ask me, and you're writing down the answers. So basically, we're trying to get to this place where we can figure out what is the key. If all this physical connections unlocks health benefits, then sometimes the blockages aren't like appearance or physical. It's really it could be, but a lot of times it's also emotional. It's all the spiritual. There's a lot of things in between just the physical.
Mm-hmm.
At least from what we've seen across marriages specifically. And then
Absolutely.
and then that's where you find you lacked in all those other places. That's when you started falling out of love. You started falling out of attraction. You started falling out of all those other things
Yeah.
because you didn't look at your spouse as someone that was so super attractive because of their inward, not just their outward.
Mm,
So your spouse will become more attractive outward when you're working together at being healthy, working together as a team, being more emotional, more spiritual, more physical. You
yeah.
have to work together.
Mm.
And I believe, I'm not sure exactly how long that time is, but we're probably over our time. So we're going to call this quits and we're going to wrap it up. And shalom to you and your home and your marriage. And remember, a marriage is something that you have to work on. It's a cup that we fill up and we work on. Shalom, everyone, and have a good night
Shalom.
or day whenever you're reading this or watching this.